So this, under these two sets of panels, I have a 12 by 36 panel with some of my stripes on it. Now these were weighted down overnight with stacks of books and gallons of gesso and stuff. I just took those off. These panels that I put down with the flat surface, they have to overhang the edge. So if I have a 12-inch wide panel here, I have to put something that's bigger than 12 inches. These are 20 inches. These sheets of deli paper. So here I've got another 36-inch panel laid out. You can't see me, but I'm really here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So I'll start with this first one. I'm just feeling for the overhang here. I'm just going to make a little note about where the glue should go. And I've got my PVA glue. And big wide brush. And I have to work fairly quickly here because the glue dries pretty fast. I'm sure there's other adhesives that would work that don't have that drawback, but I don't know what they are. And then very, very important that it go beyond the bottom edge here of the first piece and all the way out to the edges of the panel. If you have too much glue, then it's going to squeeze out and possibly drip along the edges of the panel. If you don't have enough, it's not going to stick. So you need to kind of hit that pretty well. The wood panel is going to suck up some of the glue. So I always have just a little more than I think it absolutely needs, and then deal with it if it squeezes out the edges. Brush aside, put the piece on. Make sure there's just a little overhang here. That looks about right. Oops. But it moves pretty easily on the glue while the glue is wet. Okay. Now I'm going to take a piece of deli paper or wax paper and my bone folder, and holding it down really firmly, I'm going to squeegee that out to the edges. If you don't have a bone folder, you can also use a credit card for this process. Now I'm squeezing it towards the bottom. I am getting glue on the deli paper, so I'm going to just make sure I don't put that back down on the surface of the painting. Of course, I could cover that with cheap drawing paper. Okay, and now the edges are going to come up a little bit, so I'm just going to work that all down with my hands. And since the glue dries pretty quickly, I only have to wait here a few minutes before it's dry enough to continue on to the next piece, before I'm sure that these edges aren't going to peel up. So here's the next one. Basically going to do the same thing, being careful not to get glue on top of this one. I forgot to mark where that's going to go down here. About here. And this fits, butts right up against the other piece. And if you have kind of raggedy edges on any of them, like if your decal edge of your paper is going to be right up against another one of your pieces, then use your paper cutter, cut it off. So, same program. So now this is sat overnight under 2 panels, which I have back to back, so that I have a nice flat surface against the piece. And then you can see on the back there's this little overhang of paper. So the next thing to do is to cut that off. Sometimes I stack these a few at a time. Oh, and this is just deli paper. You can use wax paper. And then these pieces I have back to back. So I've got this one, okay, and then another set of panels so that there's a flat space against the piece. If my floor were really flat, I could use that, but it's not. Now I have this piece that is mounted to panel, and it has a little kind of 1/8 inch or so of overhang on all 4 sides. So I'm going to cut that off. What to do is change the blade in my knife. It's worthwhile getting a really sharp blade. So I'm just using the kind of at the back of a disposable palette pad of paper as my cutting mat. I recommend doing the cutting on an exhale, so you breathe in, get your knife in place, and then exhale. Sounds silly, but I really do get a straighter line that way more consistently. Okay. And then having a bone folder here doesn't hurt, just to kind of push the edges down. May not need it, but it doesn't hurt. The next thing I'm going to do is paint these edges, and the reason I paint the edges after cutting is because you'll see just a little bit of the edge of the paper, so that gets painted as well. I'm using this Blick matte acrylic because I like a black matte edge. Fairly new brush. And then just proceed to paint the edge very carefully. So let's see, how do I get paint up to the edge without going over the edge? With care. It's a good idea to put on your reading glasses if you need them. And then you will get little bits over the edge. And so I keep a paper towel with a little bit of alcohol on it, just rubbing alcohol, and just wipe it as I go, and make sure that I don't reuse that dirty cloth to wipe that area again. but get a new clean portion of the cloth, soaked a little bit in alcohol. And then proceed. So I think the key here is taking your time, being patient, and just keeping that cloth handy, because you will get some paint where you don't want it. Girls, come here. Come on, ladies. Simon, what's up?